All right, so let me introduce myself just super briefly. I really like presenting at conferences, and so that I actually had a chance to participate in this conference again. I thought maybe if I proposed a panel discussion, that Emily would let me back in, and it worked. So I'm not presenting today. If you've seen me present before, I really am interested in the topic of occupant behavior as it relates to energy use reduction, and so that's why we're doing it. My name is Kenner Kingston. I'm a principal at Architectural Nexus, and we're a regional architecture firm that focuses on a lot of different things. This row right here is one of our clients in a respect, one of our team partners. Big D Construction is here. Big round of applause for Big D Construction. I appreciate the support. And one of my partners here is Carlos. Carlos is one of our longtime lead APs. And again, just excited to be here with this group. Let me introduce the panel, and you'll start to get a gist of what exactly is happening in this particular this session. Jordan Larson, in the middle, is the facilities manager for Varian Medical Systems Imaging Components business. That's longhand for they make X-ray tubes. Okay? Located in Salt Lake City, Utah, he has been an integral part of moving the organization toward a more sustainable business model, an effort that has not only saved a tremendous amount of natural resources, but also a great deal of money. If you've seen Jordan or somebody else from Varian present before, they saved in 1 year from waste stream management practices more than our company can bill in a year. Our biggest billing year ever was $30 million, which is pretty good for an architecture firm in this region. They saved $33 million that same year. Big company, small company. Let's see next. Lindsay Walsh is an expert in sustainability who spent the last 7 years working with the World Bank in a program to bring LED and solar technology to markets in Africa in an effort to replace kerosene as a lighting fuel. She is currently a project manager for Sustain3, where she supports product development, communications, and content development. I've only met Lindsay pretty recently. We started working together in the last year on a project at the university, and it's been pretty rewarding. Anybody who is doing these kinds of social equity jobs, in addition to trying to change the local environment, gets thumbs up from me. Bill Wilson founded Sustain3, a platform that educates and engages employees around energy efficiency and sustainability at both work and at home. I'm going to reread part of that because it's hard to get your head around. A lot of you are in the room saying, what is it we're talking about in this session? It's a platform, a digital platform, that educates and engages employees around energy efficiency and sustainability, both at work and at home. Bill is deeply involved in all aspects of the business, from product development and implementation to business development and operations. The platform has successfully been running for 2 years at Varian Medical Systems and 6 months at the University of Utah, affecting a measurable positive impact to the behavior of building occupants. And they signed up another client today, but I won't say anything else about that in case they want to keep that private. But that's a big deal. Getting to your third client is I think that where you get sticky.
Very happy.
It's very good. All right, so why does this topic matter? Why, as an architect, why am I so interested in occupant behavior? It comes as a result, and this is the short version of all the other presentations I've given. It comes as a result of being a building owner. As an architect, I've handed a lot of buildings off to clients and said, this thing you're doing where you're complaining to me about the operations, that's really nice, but you should probably just take control of your building and figure it out. Not until I took control, I was the project architect and then the building manager of our own building, that I see what we were doing to building owners. I saw just how much of a confusion there is at that moment of, that turnkey moment is pretty rough. Our building mechanical system on our LEED Platinum building ran incomprehensibly for 6 months until we discovered that the controls contractor had AM and PM reversed. Then everything made sense. And at that moment, I became the building manager, and we started to run it. And what we have found is that we've been able to reduce our energy consumption in our Platinum building by 50% through thoughtful operations and occupant engagement alone. We haven't upgraded the glass, we just upgraded the building. We haven't changed the RTUs, none of those engineering things. The low-hanging fruit in your buildings for saving energy come from occupant engagement. So that's what we're talking about today. All right, so to make it more clear exactly what Bill's platform is, the first question is a pretty straightforward one. Bill, show the attendees what we mean when we say, or tell them about it, and then I'll show them for you, what we mean when we say next level occupant engagement.
Yeah, so Kenner's going to show a video that does an excellent job of giving a quick overview of how our platform works in less than 2 minutes. But to set some context, more and more companies these days are really understanding the business case for operating sustainably. So they're, like the Varian example is a great one. They had a $30 million success story. Wow, can we do more? So, reducing energy use, reducing water consumption, waste stream, recycling, commuting, all of those things are part of the picture. But until you get the people, the employees engaged in part of the solution and where they really understand why it's important to their company or why it's important to them, there's no real magic. So our platform is really to help meet the leadership's messaging with the line level employees and middle management and everyone in between to really work as a team and through some friendly competition, incentives, etc., really start to make an impact, because sustainability is a lot like workplace safety. If you work for a company where safety is very important, where if you work unsafely you could get maimed or die, you get a lot of training, and typically people don't go home and work unsafe. They don't climb up on a swivel chair to change a light bulb. They think about it first. So sustainability is a lot the same. It's all about habits and behavior. And I think this hitting the play on the video will really show you kind of how we're going about it, how we're engaging large groups.
My name is Missy Nelson, Sustainability Program Manager and member of the Green Team here at Varian X-Ray Products. I'm excited to introduce to you a new program we are launching to help further our sustainability efforts. It is called Sustain 3 and is designed to be a fun, engaging way for all of us to learn more about sustainability. It provides simple, practical solutions that we can all participate in and ultimately save money both here and at home. This web portal is built to be the community hub for our efforts. On this portal, you will have the opportunity to learn about sustainability news, sign up for events, offer suggestions on how we can improve our work performance, and share success stories with your peers. One very exciting component to the program is called Learn and Earn. In the module, we can learn about specific sustainability topics relevant to both home and work, and you will have the chance to earn points and prizes. These are earned by tracking our efforts that collectively have a big impact on the company and on our community. The Sustain 3 portal is designed to be accessed not only on a computer, but also from a smartphone or tablet. The idea is to learn and share with colleagues, as well as take it home to family and friends. In the months to come, you will see examples of continuous improvement from all areas of the plant. We will communicate how we are doing towards meeting our goals and see which of our teammates are making a difference and taking the lead. So, welcome to a new era in sustainability at Varian. It's a winning strategy that helps us save money, rally together as a team, and be good stewards of our environment. Sustainability at Varian. It's how we win.
Couldn't have said it better. It's good. It's good. Yeah, Missy does a great job of articulating kind of our approach, and that's working well.
Okay, so next question for the panel. Jordan. I talked about the savings that you've enjoyed as a result of programs that were in place before you were working with SustainQuest. In what ways have occupant, with or without SustainQuest, in what ways have occupant engagement strategies helped for Varian to realize savings, actual savings?
That's a great question. Everybody hears, $30 million and their eyes get very big. It helps when you do $700 something million worth of business and the product is fairly valuable. A lot of what we generate has lead in it. It is required that we bring that back into the country. There's a true cradle-to-grave process, and there's value in us receiving it back. X-ray tubes a lot of times have gold in them. They have platinum in them. And it was through one of our employees that saw that we were getting mixed metal recycling rates on some of the stuff that had valuable metals in it. He kind of raised his hand and said, "Why are we getting 9 cents a pound for this? This has got gold, this has got molybdenum, there's valuable material in here." And suddenly, our sustainability became actually the most profitable product center in the company. And so suddenly people's attention got more to it. The Sustain Quest has been beneficial. We are looking, that was, no pun intended, we call that one of our gold nuggets of sustainability. Another real simple one, it was, we use a lot of nitrogen, gaseous nitrogen. We use a lot of liquid nitrogen, but gaseous nitrogen, we use it through the plant in a lot of different ways to keep our parts from oxidizing. And it's expensive. You've got to pump constant flow of nitrogen through the building. Well, somebody, again, an employee came up with the idea and said, why don't we get our own nitrogen plant? So we contracted with Air Liquide. They brought on an on-site nitrogen generation system, and we save about $1.5 million a year from avoided trucking costs and purchase rates through our contract we have with Air Liquide. The low-hanging fruit is out there. So to get to the long way around on the question, the value comes from the idea that employees have a place that they can come and they can say, hey, you know what, have you considered this? Have you considered that? I'm the facilities manager for our building and also for multiple buildings around the country and the world. And I'm not boots on the ground all the time. And yet if people have the open option to say, hey, you know what, why don't we change, we've got one of our electricians here, we've gone through the building and pulled all of our T12s out of the building. Then we've gone through and pulled out all our T8s, and we're now moving on to LEDs. And Rocky Mountain Power has been very helpful. That comes from employee engagement and being involved. And the Sustain 3 stuff has allowed us. Now, we get suggestions and stuff, as Missy was talking about. Missy no longer works with Barry, and we're really sad about that. She decided to pursue her career in music. Every time I see that, I think, man, she's got great teeth. Missy's a very good friend, and I tease her quite a bit, and I still keep in pretty good contact with her. But it allows the employees a place that they can provide suggestions. We get some really, really crappy suggestions. I will be completely honest. But every once in a while, you'll get one. Somebody just this last week asked me, why are we not using reusable rags in our glass fabrication space? And I thought, I don't know. That's a great idea. We have a washing machine on site. We have a dryer on site. Why could we not buy a whole bunch of reusable rags?
That's good. So your answer to the question goes way past the anticipated answer, which is value is in dollars, right?
Yes.
To values and inclusion and the true embodiment of engagement. I'm glad to hear that you're looking at ways around that disposable rag problem, because we conducted it's in the abstract for this, but I failed to mention it in the introduction. Varian's going for LEED for existing building certification for the way they operate the building. So that's my involvement. We've done that ourselves. We have a LEED Platinum EV building, and so we're trying to help them get there. We conducted a waste stream audit about a year ago, and didn't really anticipate the volume of garbage that could come out of a 300,000 square foot building in a day. It was a lot of work, but it was still less than a day's worth of effort with the right number of people. Picking through garbage can be fun.
It's enlightening.
It was very enlightening.
It was very enlightening. Okay, Lindsay, a question for you. When it comes to the Sustain Quest portal itself, the education materials, there's a big challenge in keeping it engaging and interesting, but also informative. It's not like you're designing the content for a particular target group. There's a wide range of people inside Varian or at the university or at Architectural Nexus or how do you manage it?
Well, as the video went into, there's two main content types. There's action items, and those are things that we launch every week. We ask people to do things, and before they do the actions, they read or watch a video, which is a learning module. And I think the challenge comes, and we also have different themes. So it could be a water theme, recycling, energy, electricity. And so I think the challenge comes in taking something, say we're in the electricity theme and we're talking about transmission and distribution. How do you take such a broad concept and sort of hone it down, make it applicable to people at the workplace and at home, and tailor actions that are simple, convenient. People want to do things if they're pretty easy to do, and if it takes too much time out of their life, they're just going to sort of dismiss it. So I think with content, we try to do these little sound bites, these little learning modules that are, if it's a written content, it's 350 words or less, and an action or two that take a couple minutes per week. And that's really the attention that we're trying to get. so I think that's the challenge. But I think the success is then when you see people participating, you see that they've completed actions, and not only have they completed them, but they want to tell you about the other things they've been doing on top of those actions. And so we write a lot of, when we get these suggestions, we do write a lot of, congratulations, thank you so much for your participation, and can you get other colleagues to also come on board and do the same things? So I think that's sort of the challenge and the success of content generation.
Suggestions are like the invisible challenge of this whole process, and if we get to it later, we'll talk about that. That I watched you guys talk about it as a challenge and not really appreciated it until I was more involved, and it's a big challenge, and we'll talk about that again later. I thought we would try as we go to pepper questions from the audience in, and if that doesn't work, that's no problem. But if anybody has any questions right now, looking for clarification on anything, I'd love to pause for that.
So what's the process for a suggestion? They submit something online, they send an email, do they phone call, what's the?
Yeah, there's basically an online form, and they can fill it out, and then it comes to us, and we read it, and we try the best we can to respond to every single suggestion, but it does become a really, so that's where we probably talk more in depth about how to manage suggestions, and that's really the key component is how do you manage all the inquiries, and how do you really know that there's a face on the other side of that inquiry, and give them the time to really respond. And, that's a challenge for sure.
There's a tab on the portal that says suggest and share. And the interesting thing with that is, and it's actually one of the challenges I'm trying to work through right now, is what some people think is a suggestion, sustainable suggestion, is not really a sustainable suggestion. We're in the middle of construction right now. We're adding another 150,000 square feet on our building, and we've eaten up a whole bunch of parking lot. I get parking suggestions all the time, which I'm thankful for because I appreciate that somebody's paying attention. But at the same time, it's not really a sustainability issue. The shares are dynamite. A lot of people, I don't know if they've gotten on Green Buzz or where they're getting their information from, but they share really good links, and it's interesting stuff, and it's people are thinking about it. That's what I get the most out of this.
Yes.
So how do you incorporate suggestions? I think sustainability is more than just the money and the obviously environmental impact, but the well-being of your employees. So how do you control, uprising of wage or conditions or all those other aspects?
I've never really considered that. Our employees are generally very happy. And this is I have received a number of human resource type suggestions, and my job at that point is to just redirect them to somebody, a human resource representative. But that's an interesting thought I never really considered. I still give a lot of tours around the building, and I'm regularly asked the same question. And if anybody have ever been on a tour with me, you will know I assign a dollar figure with everything that we're doing. It doesn't feel very green, truthfully. However, we're a for-profit company. If we are not making dollars, I can't keep doing our sustainability projects. My real job is maintaining the facility. Sustainability is part of my job, but it's not the main thing that we do. And I get questions on a regular basis, don't you just do it for the right thing to do? Well, we try really hard to do things for the right thing to do, but if I can't back that up to my director and say, we did this because it makes good sense, and by the way, we saved $50,000, I can get a lot more distance out of it if I can show savings.
But to be fair, an uprising as a result of occupant engagement would be considered successful occupant engagement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even if it did mean
Yeah.
destructive uprising, I'd still, at the end of the day, call that a successful occupant. Maybe not a successful program, but a successful occupant engagement.
That's
All
a
right,
good point.
we'll go back to another panelist question here. All right, so this question is for each panelist, and we'll start with Lindsay. What is leadership's role in the process of successful or next level occupant engagement?
I think number one, it's to promote the program, so to promote the portal, and try to get as many employees signed up and engaged as possible. I think often if initiative comes from a position of influence, I think it does make a difference in rallying the troops in the organization. So I think number one, it's sort of the promotion piece, and I think number two, aligning the sort of overarching larger goals of the corporation with what we're doing in the portal. So for example, at Varian, they're having this alternative commuting program that's up and running. And we are supporting that by using the platform and the content and actually a competition to get people to sign up for this alternative community. And so I think if the impetus for some of the content of the platform can come from the corporate strategy, I think that's just a win-win, and that we can help use this digital platform to reinforce programs or goals or needs that are already sort of embedded in the corporation's strategy.
Jordan?
Good answer. I like that answer. No, really, that's a good answer. One of my main roles with this whole portal, besides, let me back up. I have a philosophy, and that is that sustainability needs to be not just a roots up, it needs to be a top down, and find a place in the middle to work together. Leadership needs to push it. We've been very, very fortunate to have a director of facilities that has been willing to let us try pretty much anything we want to do when it comes to sustainability. We came up with the idea of doing a green fair 6 years ago, and we have it every year. We've had it, and it will be on our 6th one this year around Earth Day, and we bring different vendors in. The leadership supervision needs to push it. The actual hands-on, I get to answer all the suggestions. I get to be involved in the meetings and what we do and what we change and what we working very closely with Bill and what we pick for our next content. And I've got a really good group of people that work with me. Tad and Justin are back in the back row. They can answer a lot of questions too. It's a good opportunity for the leadership to see what the involvement is and know where you can focus your energies, really.
I think in a lot of cases, most company leaders are afraid to deviate from pursuing the almighty dollar and profit at all costs. And the old mantra, business of business is business. The business of business is business. So deviating from that could be a career limiting strategy if you're not careful. So I think that the role of leadership is to get aligned. So if it's decided that it's a strategic business move to integrate sustainability into the core strategies, having the leadership message be clear and the employees understand what that means to them is super important. Because if it's just, hey, we're green and we're good, and I have no idea what that means to me, it doesn't work. So it's alignment is the key word I get. The leadership needs to make sure that messaging and actions are aligned from top to bottom.
Your answer was emphatic on the issue of for-profit companies, but there's a lot of nonprofits in the room too. Government organizations, nonprofit entities, quasi-governmental or jurisdictional type groups.
And I think,
do you think it's the same or different?
No, well, and there I think what I failed to mention is in terms of shared values. Really, sometimes sustainability is there's examples where it adds to the bottom line. There's other reasons around this, and it's a value. It's sharing values with your employees, but also the community. So it doesn't have to be just after increased revenues. It can be about really setting the tone of the cultures and values.
All right, so in a minute I'm going to have Bill, so I'm going to have you prepare for this now, Bill. I'm going to have you show them a learn and earn, walk through it like you've done for others before. So they can see kind of what the larger view is, but in the meantime, I'll let you answer first, then I'll have you go up and you navigate to the portion of the website you'd like to. There's a key issue in many discussions, like it was even present in the first plenary discussion this morning about an aspect of peer pressure, normative. What's the normative state, right? Is it normal for people to want to conserve or not? And how do you use that normative state in a peer pressure fashion to motivate change, right? So there's two basic triggers at the end of a process: competition or incentive, right? And depending on how you look at the word, they have different nuances. What is more effective, in your experience, what has been more effective in driving change in occupant engagement strategies, competition or incentive?
I don't think it's either or. I think they complement each other.
I'm going to buzz you. You have to answer this.
Yeah. I thought about this actually when we were thinking about that question. first I said, and I still believe, long term, I believe it's more on the competition side. Short term, and initially to get people's attention, at least at the very end, it was the incentives that really got people like, oh wow, really? And so we have every quarter a prize shop. It's very visible in the cafeteria. We roll out a table at least as big as this, a lot wider, and fill it full of swag.
Sustainable swag.
Yeah.
Sustainable swag.
Awesome swagness, and people go by the into the cafeteria, like, hey, well, how did Jack get that cool solar charging station? Well, Jack's engaged with SustainQuest. Oh yeah, maybe I should do that. So there's this, there was that momentum. Now we've just started to really layer in competitions, and it's interesting. Now there's more social media interaction. We have a private Facebook group that people are getting engaged on. Now we can post, hey, and specifically with the competition is we have a commuting team that's north of 5300 South in Murray and south of 5300 South in Murray. And so we've broken up the city in that way. And there's almost an equal amount of commuters that are either carpooling or using the EcoPass. And this has really drummed up a lot of interest, and people are, starting to get their competitive nature going. So it's a bit of both, in my opinion.
All right, Jordan, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know. You guys, your company's different companies are, but ours is clearly swag driven. I mean, everybody loves free stuff. I mean, you walk around even here, I noticed just kind of paying attention. Who's got the best candy bars?
It's an age-old tactic.
It is. It's an easy trick. The motivation side of the competition is something we've been working on for a long time, and we finally came up with a decent option. But I think I would have to agree that it's probably both. The trick is finding the happy balance and keeping it going. Interesting. We saw an interesting phenomenon. We have a board in one of our main hallways that shows the leaderboard. Who's got the most points?
On the page that's up behind them, the leaderboard is
yeah.
showing on the right hand there. Those are the individual scores. So.
That's the live board right there.
Yeah.
And so on this leaderboard, you walk in and people see their names and faces right there. And it was really interesting. We were up into, we had probably about 3,000 or 4,000 points at one point, and it was the same 10 people all the time. And I got talking with Bill. I said, what, we've got to start. We got to wipe this clean. Let's see what just happens. So we did a reset, and we told everybody, spend your points at the next prize shop. We're zeroing everything out. So the first of the year, we zeroed everything out. Of the 10 that are up there, there's only one that was the same from the last top 10.
And he was number one before.
Yeah, and
By
now
a
he's
long
not.
shot.
And now he's not. And so it's interesting to see that the attention span and the competitional edge is there. There's people that want to see their name on the board.
Plus, it created that social norm thing, which is
Absolutely.
a good part of this morning's.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Lindsay, so you get a chance to tell these guys they're wrong. It's not both.
I think it's competition, really.
Yeah.
Like, number one.
See how she said that? Like, competitively?
I do. But I think there's some research that's pretty compelling that would back that up. And one company that I saw a TED Talk by, I think his name is Alex Lasky, and he's the founder of this company called Blue Power. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but
Yeah.
they basically work with utilities, and they give people these sort of customized personal, what does your house look like compared to similar households?
I'm getting those in.
I get a
My Salt Lake.
every
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, now Questar, like other companies are starting to do this, but they, in their first couple of years of sort of piloting this, they saved so much money that it was just pretty obvious that it works. So I do think having that competition between whether it's your neighbors or whoever it is, that just drumming up that spirit of competition, I do think is pretty powerful.
Because I'll tell you, in my household, when we get a utility bill that says we're not the above average neighbor on the block, there is a talking to that goes on about how we are not average in this house. We have to save more than the other folks. Okay. If you have something that will give them some idea of the detailed level of engagement that we're kind of abstractly discussing.
Yeah, just to set context again, we roll out one learn and earn a week. As you can see, this one is 2 minutes and 44 seconds. We have no illusion that anyone, has any time or much of an attention span, so we don't fight that. We live with it, we roll with it. So what I'll do is I'll show you a typical learn and earn, the quiz. So you guys we'll all have to answer this quiz question, a couple of them, and then a call to action. Because at the end of the day, you only get results through actions. So that's the end of the day. Education is nice, but only actions will get results, and only results count. So here is a 2-minute and 44-second typical learn and earn done in animation fashion.
By now it's clear that our company cares deeply about sustainability and sees it as an important strategy for our long-term success. But what are the trends nationally? Are we out on the fringe, or are other companies embracing sustainability too? The short answer is this. Leading companies around the country and around the world are actively embracing and integrating sustainability into core business strategy for the same reason we are. They recognize that their ability to thrive long-term comes from balancing the 3 pillars of sustainability: social engagement, environmental responsibility, and economic success. In the early days, sustainability was seen primarily as a public relations or a marketing initiative. People wanted to be seen as being green. For some people that was and remains important, but smart companies have pushed well beyond this. The second phase in the rise of sustainability came when companies realized that there were significant cost savings to be achieved by following sustainable business practices. Reducing energy consumption directly equates to reduced operating costs, and reduced waste means fewer input materials to purchase, again improving bottom line profits. But now there are 2 new sustainability trends that have risen and are taking it to the next level. The first is employee engagement. The research shows that sustainability is becoming a mainstream trend. It's not just for hippies and radicals anymore. And as more and more people are starting to see the value of sustainability in their personal lives, they expect their companies to embrace these values as well. Enlightened companies know that no matter what the CEO might declare, it's the employees that are really the ones that get it done. And so these companies work to cultivate and harness this energy towards achieving their sustainability opportunities. It's not just about supporting employees' values, it's smart business. The second new trend in corporate sustainability is that companies are now starting to see sustainability as an important growth strategy. Whether it's the development of new products to meet emerging market needs or an opportunity to reach new customers who share these values, sustainability is enabling new possibilities in the marketplace. How do we know these things are true? It's all in the data. A recent study by the McKinsey Group found that CEOs in nearly 1 of 3 companies have identified sustainability as a top 3 global priority. PricewaterhouseCoopers research shows that 86% of large companies have at least 1 employee focused full-time on sustainability. Harvard Business School analysis has shown that sustainability-focused companies have achieved better stock performance, lower price volatility, and higher return on assets than the broader market. Add this all up, and it says that not only is sustainability here to stay, it's an important strategy for long-term success. Our opportunity as employees is to embrace it, to energize it, and to drive it, not just for the good of the company, but for our own job security and financial well-being. Sustainability, it's a winning strategy.
Okay, now it's quiz time, so take the quiz. Which concepts are included in the definition of corporate sustainability? Do I hear an all of the above?
Hard to read.
Can't read any
Hard
of
to
that.
read.
It's all.
Is it too small?
Yeah.
This is more for a demonstration of the concept than actually making sure you earn your points at Varian for
But I want to know how I do against other people.
You know, just to back up a second, clearly the intent of that learn and earn, this was early on in Sustainability 101. This was given the employees context of why are we doing this? What is this? Because you can imagine they get a lot of flavor of the week type of stuff. So this was really to help them understand. Sustainability can benefit a company through cost savings, marketing, PR, new growth opportunities, all the above. And what percentage of large companies have at least 1 full-time person focused on sustainability? 86.
They were paying attention.
Great job. So now, one more. So according to Harvard Business School, sustainability-focused companies have achieved
All of the above.
Quizzes aren't always that easy.
now this was early on in the program, and this particular action was go introduce yourself to a member of the green team.
Oh, you got back up though. So what happened was finishing the quiz unlocked an action.
Yes.
Okay, so then the action was, say it again.
It was go introduce yourself to a member of the green team. So again, getting people talking. This was early on. We have actions like things like shut down your computer when you leave work, and document that you've done that. Water, install a low flow shower head in your shower. Try to, for 2 weeks running, try to take less than a 5 minute or less shower. Things like that. So the actions vary. Some are more social, others are very practical.
And some are business or office focused, and some are home focused. Again, that idea that Bill was talking about relative to safety at work. If you're safe at home, you'll be safe at work. If you have an ethic of conservation at home, you're probably going to have an ethic of conservation at work. So, trying to say there's something in it for you. We can help. We can help you save money at home too.
The last piece I just mentioned is when we launch new material each week, we notify people through an email blast and Facebook, because we don't have, again, any illusions that people are going to roll out of bed and go, I gotta see what's on Sustain Plus today. They do roll out of bed and check Facebook, and if they're part of the private group, there'll be a notification that there's a new learn and earn or an action. Like, oh, okay, I know it's only going to take me 3 minutes, I'll go ahead and do it.
While they're on the train, because they're doing the action from the alternative commuting transportation, they've got a few minutes. Yeah, it's time for more audience questions. Greg.
So you send out a blast.
Yeah.
And over what period of time do you get what percentage of participation, or are you?
It kind of trickles in. There's always the usual suspects that are on it. I mean, they're immediately like, woo, not even waiting for it. And then others, it trickles in. The people can come and do this. We designed this so people can do this at their leisure, whenever they want, at home, on a break, on the tracks, whatever. And they know, that it's not going to take them a lot of time. That they can wait till Tuesday if they want, whatever. It's really, we don't try to convert people to the green religion. It's more about, it's a nudging.
But to give you an idea, we're putting together some metrics for the program that we're working on together at the university. And so we benchmarked some key engagement metrics at both Varian and at the university to do some comparisons. What it appears to us, I mean, you got to recognize this is an emerging area of practice. It's not like I can say, well, Harvard Business School says this level of engagement is good engagement. You're looking at the two, this is it. I mean, this is cutting edge stuff. So it looks like if you can get above 50% of available people connecting, that's good, and we're doing that. And if you can get half of those people repeatedly engaging, not just one-timers, right? Then you're doing good. And so 25% active engagement, 50% some kind of engagement is starting to look like a pretty good bar. Now you can get lots of signups because of enticements. That's why there's a gap between active engagers and passive engagers. But we can talk more about that. Other questions from the group? Yes, Sarah.
Since you brought up metrics and benchmarking, I would be curious to know how, and it sounds like maybe you're just getting to the point where you could maybe do this. This type of program compares to one that just goes straight for like cause and effect type of we asked everybody to turn their computers off at night. 3 weeks later, we've shown this much decrease in our energy usage at night. That kind of direct correlation between action and data and savings. Have you compared those? Because I've seen some of those. I've actually been involved with a couple of those, and they're really because that brings out some. You could build a little competition around it or whatever. But instead of a sort of theoretical action quiz, that's cause and effect. The company wants to see reduction in energy, waste, water. So I'm just curious about if you looked at how this compares to those type of programs.
Panelists?
Yeah, I can answer that. We've been really heavy focused on building content, and now our focus is shifting. We have a pretty vast library now, over 100 learn and earns, over 200 actions. Now our focus has shifted to measuring impact. With the commuting, literally tomorrow, there's going to be dollars saved, miles avoided, trees planted, and pounds of CO2 that are tied to every trip that is reduced to and from work. Next,
But to be clear, you are tracking trip reduction.
that's right.
So it is engagement. On some topics, it's engagement with simultaneous tracking. On other topics, it is larger and abstract.
That's right.
But I think Sarah's question is about the larger abstract stuff. Have you been able to find a way to correlate? I have an answer, but I want you guys to answer first.
One thing actually we're working with Kenner on this is part of our LEED EV certification is we've got to get our office area electricity usage to 75 points, I think.
You got to be in the top 25%
We've got to
of
be in the
buildings in
top
the nation.
20% buildings across the country. That's something that can be measured. We took the time, we installed sub-metering through all of our office space so that we can track our electricity usage and our gas usage in the office areas. We're at 70. And we have installed motion sensors on all of our lights. We have installed LEDs through our office areas. We've done the low-lying fruit. Now it's behavioral change, and that is not easy. Getting these people to turn their computers off at night, it's not that hard. But yet, a couple of years ago, our IT department said, no, you cannot turn your computers off at night because that's when we send out our updates. It's like, well, won't it just hit it in the morning when I turn my computer on? No, we can't do that. We can't do that. Well, come to find out, yes, we can do that. But the problem is there's still a mentality of, oh, you gotta leave your computer on when you go home. Leave that computer on. So we're looking to get those last few points to get us up to the 75, up into the top percentile.
So, and for Varian, what we found is since they've engaged the concept of EV, and we've been, before we really got integrated, Bill and I were kind of practicing at Varian separately for a while before I put my competitive nature aside and said, yeah, you're going to be a great partner on this stuff. And we've noticed that they have a trend of increasing savings building wide on energy use, which is really interesting given the nature. I mean, that's a manufacturing facility. So their business is increasing and their energy use is going down. So there's like double win there that's occurring. So we are conscious of trying to find ways to measure that. At the university, it's a particular challenge because there's so many unmetered buildings. And you got to start with infrastructure. So for anybody that owns a building with billing meters on it, or you live in one house, okay, it's really easy to start to correlate. On a campus environment, it can be more difficult.
So is that information getting fed back to the people at Varian? And like,
Yes.
Great question.
Yes, it will be, and that's part of what we're doing with our LEED EV. We had to establish an energy policy, and that is part of it, is making sure that we're communicating our savings and the impact that they're having, and that is something that the Sustain 3 stuff is helping us do.
Audience question.
So this is a question for you, Jordan, and that is that you had said that you needed to make a business case for your green initiatives. What is the business case for somebody going home and changing their shower head or commuting via?
I've got a great example. Okay,
Thank you.
I have 25 guys that report to me. They're all maintenance guys, and they're mechanically inclined and engineers. Well, this guy actually just recently graduated from Weaver State, lives in Clearfield. Well, we have provided him with a UTA Eco Pass for free, and he can ride tracks, he can ride front runner, he can ride the bus. So we gave that to him, no cost. Okay, he rides front runner to. We now have a shuttle. Where we are, some of you guys probably have no idea where we are. We're at about 17th South and 30th West, 28th West.
Industrial park.
It's industrial park. There's one bus that runs by our building, and it is really sporadic. So if you're tied to a clock, it's next to impossible for these people to ride the bus. We've provided a shuttle for them from North Temple at the tracks and Front Runner Station, and from Center Point pickup by Best Buy right there off of 21st and 3rd West. And then they pulled, it's the last mile. My guy that was using it, he since his wife also works at Varian and she's got a different schedule, so he's not doing as much. He was saving $350 a month by riding tracks and the train and by using UTA. The dollar figures are easy incentive for that case with the employees.
And that's a benefit to Varian because why?
It's a benefit for a number of reasons. We were approached by Utah Clean Energy and the State Air Coalition Chamber to see if there's any way we could help cut down. This was last year when the inversion was so terrible. And we said, let's look into it. Well, the best way we could figure was cutting down traffic. We used to be a significant emitter of stuff in the atmosphere. We are no longer a big emitter. We don't put much into the air anymore. But we have 700 employees. And that's, a lot of times that's a single car. Okay, well, there's a benefit from that. The other benefit is, we figured out dollar cost of what it would cost to build a parking stall. It's about $20,000. After everything, all the infrastructure, everything you've got to do, it's about $20,000 for a parking slot. Well, we figured out we were running out of space. We had no more parking stalls, and oh, by the way, we're taking 150 stalls out of that parking lot for the construction space. And it's just temporary. We'll get some of that back, but you have to build buildings somewhere, and usually the parking lot is one of those areas that gets hit. We found some alternates around that. But so the commuter program, which Tad is very heavily involved with, has offered a good opportunity for that. And we were able to say, look, yes, this is going to cost us $80,000 this year, but the alternative is to buy the property across the street and build a parking lot. And oh, by the way, that's about $3 million for us to do that, just for the property. That's
And provides no community benefit.
and there's no benefit whatsoever to the employees or the community, correct?
I have a wrap-up question for each panelist, but your questions are more important. So if there's any more questions, I'll let you guys sneak them in. Okay. Yes, sir.
Along the lines of sustainability, has Varian done anything by incorporating renewable energies?
Yes, absolutely. We are a visionary level blue sky partner, which means we buy 10% of all of our electricity. And that may not seem like much, but we spend close to $1.8 million a year in electricity. So we put a lot of money into the blue sky program. It took a little bit of arm wrestling with my boss, but once he caught the vision, it's easy fun. He got on board, and he's been wholeheartedly supportive of it. So Rocky Mountain Power loves us. We use a ton of electricity. Creating an X-ray requires a lot of electricity. It also requires a lot to make them, to actually create the X-ray tube. So, we're always looking. We have a new president. He came on. First question he asked me was, "What are you guys doing about solar? Do we have solar on the building? Do we have solar?" Once I walked him through the economics, he goes, "Yeah, when it's ready, when it's time, when you can." It's hard to justify when you're paying less than 7 cents a kilowatt hour. So.
We've still got to target it on their EV scorecard,
Yep.
so with any luck, we'll sneak some on that.
Well, and with our new facility, we're expanding our cafeteria because we're adding almost another 1,000 bodies in the next few years. Our cafeteria's got to grow. Well, we're also building a green space outside the cafeteria, and it's a perfect place for kind of some awning space, which would be ideal solar panels. So that's what we're working with. Intermountain Wind and Solar has been